Well, it's great to be here. In fact, it's great to be anywhere. I've only come out for a warm saper in the eastern on its own. I'm Paul and I'm from Wolverhampton. Now, are you familiar with the City of Culture Award? Every 4 years, they select someone, and whoever wins gets to be the City of Culture for 12 months. Now, on the last 3 occasions, Wolverhampton has submitted a bid, and on each occasion it's been rejected. We haven't even got into the final shortlist of 4. And to rub salt into the wounds, the last 3 cities to win have been Hull, Coventry and Bradford. Has anybody been to Hull, Coventry or Bradford? We're a lot more underwhelmed and reserved than Americans, aren't we? They're so loud and over the top, they're great on your nerves. I was in Florida recently, and I went into this beach bar, and I plonked myself on a stool next to this big fat loud American. And he turned to me, he says, "How's it going, man?" I says, "Alright. Not so bad. Could be worse. How are you enjoying this beautiful weather and not a cloud in the sky?" "At least it's dry." The rain held off. He says, "You from England?" I says, "Yeah." "Oh, what city are you from?" I says, "Wolverhampton." "Wolverhampton? I don't think I've heard of that. Is that near London?" "No." "Oh, that's neat city, man." I said, "It's in the right fucking state." I'd like to talk about a woman's superpower. Talking. I saw a stat the other day. It says women speak up to 10,000 words a day compared to men's 3,000. Can you believe that, lads? Where I live, I've got a balcony, and on a Monday and Thursday night, if you're outside at the right time, this running club comes past. And there's normally about 10 blokes. Complete silence. And then about 20, 30 yards behind, there's normally 7, 8 women. Linda's done that bloke, she was saying. I said he couldn't get it up. He only had a shower once a week. He's met somebody else now online, his name's Graham. He's got a really good job. He's in finance. He earns a fortune, apparently. He's got an apartment in Mallorca. Has dropped on this time. Fat bitch. How can you run and talk at the same time? It's a superpower. Girls, I'm convinced you could have a conversation underwater. Have you seen Labour are trying to get as many people with disability benefits back into work? I've got a friend, Mickey Adams, and he's paralysed from the neck down. Terrible accident. And they called him into the job centre for an assessment interview. So he managed to get into the office in his electric chariot, fuck knows how he did it. And there's a young spotty kid sitting behind the desk. He says, "Morning, Mr. Adams. The reason for this interview is to try and match your disability with a job opportunity. It says here you're paralysed from the neck down, is that correct?" "Yes." "Right, let me just put that into the computer, paralysed from the neck down, search. We'll see if we can find you something suitable now, Mr. Adams. Just bear with me, it'll take a while to load." "Oh, I think we've got a match here for you, Mr. Adams. There's a farmer in Worfield looking for a scarecrow." "You alright? You alright?" I've got a female friend, and she's a teacher. I've got a female friend, and she's a teacher. I was talking to her the other day, and she was saying she's got a girl in her class. She's only 7, and she's decided she wants to identify as a cat. She said, I hadn't got a clue what to do, so I went to see the headmaster, get his advice. He says, well, what I'd like you to do to be on the safe side is when she comes into the classroom, I'd like you to meow and put a saucer of milk down for her. She said, I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She said, if you was in my position, what would you do? I says, well, if it was down to me, I'd identify as a dog and bite the little fucker. That's the non-PC section over. You can't beat a good funeral to see people in their true colours. I used to work with a bloke called Dave Perry, really good looking bloke, and everybody used to call him Pretty Boy. And he died suddenly in his 40s, terrible accident. And just before the funeral, our gaffer, who was as tight as a drum, he says, come with me, he says, I'm going to go order some flowers. So we walked in the florist's, and he said to the girl, he says, could you give me a price, please, for a floral letter tribute that spells Pretty Boy? You know, the sort of thing you see leaning up the coffin in the hearse, Mom, Grandad, that sort of thing. She said, certainly, sir, no problem, let's have a look. We got 9 letters. And we charge £30 a letter, so that'd be £270, sir. He says, I'll have Dave. I went on a midweek break a few weeks ago. Warner's in Herefordshire. Jesus Christ. Now, I know I'm an old bastard, but I reckon I was still at least 20 years too young for this place. So we turned up and was walking towards the entrance, and the first thing to greet us, there was an ambulance outside. And they were just bringing one out on a stretcher doing CPR. And then the receptionist ran out. Dave, I've checked his booking, it says do not resuscitate. She's on first name terms with the ambulance driver, he must be there nearly every day. So we went into reception, and all you could see was wheelchairs, walking frames, mobility scooters. It looked like they were holding the Paralympics.
Sounds like heaven.
Have you been? So we checked in, chucked the stuff in the room, and we messed about for the afternoon. Then later on we went down to dinner. And outside the dining room, either side of the corridor, all you could see was mobility scooters on charge. It looked like the starting grid at Silverstone for the Grand Prix. Walked in the dining room, it looked like the cafe at Dobby's. Just a sea of white hair. I know, people in glass houses. And you know, normally in a restaurant on the table you get a bunch of flowers or a candle or both. In this place they've got a defibrillator on every table. So after dinner we went into the function room, and they got a violin tribute act on. Violin tribute act. There'll be bluebirds over the white cliffs of Dover. And they were all swaying from side to side, they were loving it. And then, of course, for the finale, she did We'll Meet Again. Don't know when, don't know when. I thought that's a bit optimistic, eh? Looking at the state of his. So we had another couple of drinks and then we toddled off to bed, and to get to the room we had to go up this staircase. And there was an old fella hanging onto the banister halfway up. I says, you alright, mate? He says, oh, he says, I've just stopped for a breather. Now I can't remember whether I was going up or down. Warner's never again. Joking apart, there's nothing good to be said for getting older. If I wake up now and I don't ache, I think I'm dead. It was my birthday last week and my daughter said, what shall I get you? I said, I don't want anything, don't need anything. She said, I've got to get you something. I says, well, you know I love Switzerland, I used to go skiing there, I've been to Zurich, Geneva. Beautiful country, spotlessly clean, just get me something that reminds me of Switzerland. So she got me an assisted suicide information packed in There's a girl lives over the road from me. I'd say she's about 35, absolutely gorgeous looking girl. And I've never seen her with a bloke. And the other Friday night she came over and knocked my door. I opened the door, I said, "Can I help you?" She said, "I feel like getting drunk, dancing and making love." She said, "Are you doing anything tonight?" I says, No, absolutely nothing, me." She says, "Oh, that's great. Will you let me dog out about 9 o'clock? And that's me done. And thank you very much, you brilliant as usual. Looking forward.
Did you enjoy that?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Oh,